Recently, I stumbled across a piece of wackiness that serves as a really fitting example of how the far-left wokies are infecting, well, just about everything. Meanwhile, our society is riding a roller coaster to hell, this time courtesy of National Geographic, of all places. Prehistoric female hunter discovery upends gender role assumptions. Wait, hang on a minute. This is missing something. Oh wait, there we go. Researchers have generally thought that only prehistoric males hunted. But what if evidence against that idea has been lying in plain sight for decades? Oh, you know what's a great idea? Getting some far-left feminist ideologues to flex their useless gender expertise. The people who are the embodiment of I are hammer and everything I see nail. Randall Haas, an archaeologist at University of California, Davis, recalls the moment in 2018 when his team of researchers gathered around the excavated burial of an individual laid to rest in the Andes Mountains of Peru some 9,000 years ago. Along with the bones of what appeared to be a human adult was an impressive and extensive kit of stone tools an ancient hunter would need to take down big game, from engaging the hunt to preparing the hide. But further analysis revealed a surprise. The remains found alongside the toolkit were from a biological female. Okay, instantly I am skeptical. I'm no anthropologist, but hunters typically don't carry all of their tools with them. They don't skin the game in potentially dangerous hunting grounds. They would take the animal and return to camp where the others can aid in the skinning process. What's described there sounds like a burial custom. Scattered around the sites were fragments of the bones of animals, including ancient llama relatives and deer. Right, so potentially it could have been their village site where they would skin the hides. It could also have been the site of this person's death at the hands of an animal, and they were then buried with the tools there as a ritual custom. While the new study provides a strong argument that the individual in Peru was a female who hunted, plenty of other evidence has long been lying in plain sight, says Pamela Geller, an archaeologist at the University of Miami who is not part of the study team. An interesting note on that last line, not part of the study team. Aside from the people at the original dig site, this is mentioned of all the people in this entire piece. So National Geographic, you deliberately sought out these bullshit gender ideologues for commentary. Importantly, the team cannot know the individual's gender identity, why? But rather only biological sex, which like gender doesn't fuck off, I'm not reading that. In other words, they can't say whether the individual lived their life 9,000 years ago in a way that would identify them within their society as a woman. Who would write this? Importantly, to who the hell is that important? Who in their right mind discovers female bones and hunting tools and thinks, oh, I wonder how Stone Age females express their gender identity? It's a fucking Stone Age society, you dingus, presumably by giving birth. Men acted as hunters, women as gatherers. This assumption comes from studies of modern hunter-gatherers, where men more frequently are responsible for the hunt, while women bear the most responsibility for caring for children, says Arizona State University's Kim Hill, who specializes in human evolutionary anthropology and was not part of the study team. You can't just stop in the middle of stalking a deer in order to nurse a crying baby, Hill says. Of course not, their crying would scare the game away. Bravo to Professor Kim Hill, the only person in this entire article who seems to have an ounce of common sense. Oh, would you look at that, he doesn't have any retarded leftist academia credentials. Also a white male and therefore more likely to be correct. Who'd have thought? Yet inferences from present-day hunter-gatherers have limits. For decades, Geller said, some archaeologists have argued that the simple view of male hunters and female gatherers is in fact an oversimplification. Oh yeah, because societies 9,000 years of age are famously known for their enormously advanced gender hierarchies that can be reinterpreted with lofty 20th century interpretations of gender identity. Ugh, kill me now, please. With few exceptions, the researchers who study hunting and gathering groups, regardless of which continent they work on, presume that a sexual division of labor was universal and rigid. Yeah, because there's definitely no similarities between any human societies across the continents that biology might facilitate. And because it's commonsensical, they then have a hard time explaining why female-bodied individuals also bear the skeletal markers of hunting or have hunting toolkits as grave goods. When researchers have found signs of this discrepancy in the past, Geller said, usually they don't say anything, as if ignoring the evidence will make it go away. Incorrect, they don't ignore it, they just don't try and cram horseshit feminist theory into it. Hell, I give plausible examples explaining the evidence. Hunting would likely require as many able-bodied adults as possible to increase safety and efficiency, regardless of their biological sex. After a child weans, the mother could be available to assist in big hunts, says Kathleen Sterling, an archaeologist at Binghamton University, who was not part of the study team. But even with babies, hunting could still be possible with community nursing assistance. Increase safety and efficiency, which would always be include more men who are bigger, stronger, and faster. Why on earth would you ever choose a female who is in every capacity biologically inferior for this task, and who is much more adept at the traditional role, which is to produce and nurse the offspring? I'll give her credit, her idea is at least plausible, but in that case of using females for hunting, it's no longer a gender issue, it's simply a lack of men is a need for more manpower. Yes, pun very much intended. ASU's Hill says he's not yet fully convinced that the female individual buried 9,000 years ago was actually a hunter in life. Burial goods, including hunting tools, could have been placed there because of symbolic or religious beliefs, he cautions. Hang on a minute, that one woman previously stated, usually they don't say anything. Well, here Professor Hill gives some explanations as to why, and they seem more grounded in reality than hers. Actually, upon reading it again, she actually offers up no explanation for any of this. She says, the data is there, it's just a matter of how the researchers interpret it. Funny that you don't give any interpretation of the data, it's just you pissing all over someone else's opinion. Which begs the question, why the fuck is your opinion featured on this? Did the newfound toolkit belong to the buried individual? Sterling challenged the inquiry itself. We typically don't ask this question when we find these toolkits with men, she says. It's only when it challenges our ideas about gender that we ask these questions. No, it's only when a feminist sneaks a whiff of a chance to peddle their pathetic excuse of an academic choice do you ask those questions. Hell, the previous idea they could have been killed and the tools buried with them also seems quite plausible. Geller adds, there is so much mental gymnastics that go on trying to explain these things away. The irony of that statement is fucking unreal. The toolkit discovered in a 9,000-year-old burial was quite diverse, including both precious implements, like projectile points that are challenging to make, as well as more mundane tools, like stone flakes that can easily be crafted by smashing rocks. This hints the tools weren't some type of offering, rather it points to the objects being used by the individual in life. How do they know that? How do they know the tools didn't belong to, say, her partner? He was killed in a hunting trip, and now that they're both dead, she is buried with the tools to give to him upon them being reunited. Who knows, just a thought. For Geller, the debate has important implications for today. Yeah, because this discovery is really the one that's going to upend the patriarchy and just remove all of those pesky gender disparities. There's so much gender disparity going on right now. If we were to presume that there's something that biologically predisposes us, then we'd be able to justify that gender disparity. There is a word for that. Oh yeah, pregnancy! Carrying a child, giving birth, tending to it, motherhood, if you will. How on earth are you an associate professor of anthropology and you can't come to the logical conclusion that being the physically weaker sex that carries the child in a Stone Age society might facilitate different gender roles? To me, that's dangerous and completely unsubstantiated. Oh yeah, if I studied utter nonsense and my entire academic career is in danger of being exposed as a total farce, I too would likely label any opposition as dangerous. Unbelievable. The two women in question, Kathleen Sterling and Pamela Geller, let's check out some of their studies. Feminist and queer studies. No surprise there, I'm sure they're a much-needed boon to the field of anthropology. What else we got? Biopolitics, a phrase used by the Nazis to describe their racial policies and in America popularized by Foucault. Sociopolitics of the past, which is postmodernist neo-Marxism. So these sociopaths are trying to cram in the absolute horseshit ideas of postmodernism into primitive societies that predate our earliest discovery of the wheel by about 3,500 years. Let that one sink in. And that's all for today. Until next time.